Okay. We're going to go ahead and install Android Studio, and we're going to do this as quickly as I can. Go ahead and click the I have read and agreed to the above terms and conditions, only if you do so, of course. Then you should see it downloading here, and I'm just going to click on it so it will open as soon as I get it. Okay, it should be launching. Yep, there it is. Go ahead and click yes or OK. We are going to be installing the Android virtual device, otherwise you'll have to have an Android device to work on. It's just much more convenient to do it in software. I'm going to just put it in the default location. You can move it to wherever you want. If you plan on doing a lot of folders, or if you have another drive that's going to take up a lot of space and you don't need a lot of performance, go ahead and do that. I just use the default. You can also choose whether or not to create a shortcut. I'm just going to let it go. And we've got it installed. There are a couple of spots where it can hang up. For me, it was... I'll show you when it will occur. I'm not going to import anything. Okay, so we've got plugins, Firebase, etc. Update. I'm just going to go ahead and say update, update. Just bring it to the latest version so you don't have to do anything later. Restart to act. I'm actually not going to restart. But for now, what we can do is say setup wizard to set up the SDK. I'm just going to say standard. I prefer Darkula, but I'm going to use light because I'm presenting. Nothing to do. Finish. SDK is update. Okay, so that's step one. Next, we're going to start a new Android project. I would suggest starting with an empty activity. We're going to give it a name in just a second. We're going to call it Hello World. Classic program. I'm going to run it on API 16. We're going to run it in Kotlin. Super simple. And here we go. So it's loading the project. We've got this. It's indexing the file right now. So I should see something pop up here in just a second. Yep, there it is. So we've got this main page. And before you do anything else, believe me, you want to do this. I've had quite a few problems with this. So I'm going to say store current layout. Under window, I'm going to say store current layout as default. That way, if I mess anything up, I can go restore default layout. Let me just show you what I mean. Let's say I close something and I don't know where to go. I don't know what to click. Go to tools, or I go to restore default layout. And all of a sudden, everything's back to normal. Believe me, this will save you a huge headache later if you're trying to figure out what's going on. I'm actually going to add this one. If you don't do this, you can very easily miss stuff. I believe that was assistant, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. Next thing, we're device. Actually, I'm just going to show you kind of what the two main ways of looking at this are. So we've got the code. Code is relatively straightforward. And I'm trying to open up the design tab. The XML is the layout of your screen. So what you should see is a screen pop up here in just a second. And it's the first time building, so it might take a moment. But you can see here, I'm at 20% resolution. So let's just get this a little bit bigger. So you can see it says Hello World in the center. If I click on that, I should see an attributes show up. And now we've got some options available. It'll have this no devices, and what I'm going to do is open up AVD Manager. This is where we're going to create a virtual device. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, I believe it was Nexus 6 that we were told to do in class. So let me go ahead and say next. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the x86 images. I'm going to go to version 16, which I've already installed, Jelly Bean. So what I want to do is say download, and you'll get a little prompt that pops up, and you'll just want to agree to that and make it so that it starts to work. I'm just doing this as a filler, but what you'll see is that it will no longer have a download next to it. So I can say finish. That's not actually the one I want to use, but I can select whichever one I want in here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this Jelly Bean API level 16 ABI x86 Android 4.1 Google APIs. I'm going to go ahead and say next. I'm just going to leave the AVD name as Nexus 6 API. I want it to start up in portrait mode, and I want the graphics to be emulated as automatic. Go ahead and click finish. Creating Android virtual device. Now here's where you'll get an issue if you don't have virtualization enabled on your device. What will end up happening is it will say VXI or something, some sort of virtualization. It will have a VI in it or a VX in it. It will say that you cannot emulate this. And what this means is that you have to go into BIOS. In order to do that, you'll either hit delete or F2 or F10, depending on your motherboard. Your motherboard generally has a splash screen when it first starts up. I cannot show you this part because I do not have a external capture card. But what I can do, now that I've got it installed, and it didn't give me that error, is I can say run app. And what it's going to do is it's going to create, or it's going to launch the Android emulator, and it's going to go ahead and start up and power on the virtual device. So what you should see is the apps. First of all, it's going to behave just like a regular phone, where it has to initialize and do everything and load everything into the imaginary operating system. Not imaginary, but virtual. So it's loading. There it is. It's loaded, and now the program launches. We now have our Hello World app, and we are good to go. For our class, we just had to take a screenshot of it and show that it's running. So this is a good opportunity for you to go ahead and take a screenshot after you get this all done. Definitely, move it around, play. So there's nothing you can really do with this. The nice thing about this emulator is that you can close it and it will save the state. You don't have to power it off and power it on. You can say close, and it will save the state so you don't have to power it on again, and it will come up a lot faster. That's all for this, and that was all that needs to be done for the mobile app development course for Android. Anyways, have a good one.